Welcome back into American Basketball Media Day. We wrap up day one with the SMU Mustangs, and first we're going to hear from head coach Rob Lanier in his first season at SMU, and we have the pleasure to welcome him in right now into the American studios here in Dallas, Texas, just a few miles away from our studios here in Irving. Coach Lanier, really looking forward to seeing what you can do here in the American. Welcome to the conference. Welcome to SMU. What was the first thing that you checked off your list when you arrived there in Dallas?
Well, the most important thing was putting together a staff, which fortunately for me, I was able to bring the majority of my staff with me from Georgia State. So that continuity helped us as we were trying to build a roster and build relationships with our returning players. And we've got a group that we're really excited about, and trying to build a program, and inside of that, trying to develop this group into a team.
Coach, we have some members of the media standing by, ready to ask you some questions. So I'm going to send things over to Chuck Sullivan with the American Athletic Conference. Chuck?
Thank you, Morgan, and welcome, Coach Lanier. Again, if you have a question for Coach, please use the raise hand feature in the Zoom, and we'll get to them in the order in which they come in. We'll start with Jordan Hoffiditz, please, from 24/7 Sports Pony Stampede. Jordan, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, I know we just talked yesterday, but one thing we didn't bring up was the schedule that you put together. I know some of it was partially in place from previous years and some previous commitments, but what did it mean to get TCU back on the schedule, to get that trip to A&M and some of those others that are going to be some big games for you to get ready for conference play?
Yeah, it's exciting. It's consistent with our vision in terms of how we want to build the schedule. And obviously, it's a little bit ambitious, but we like it that way. So some great challenges there, obviously, and don't know what it means yet until we really start to develop our identity as a team. And I like the path that we're on, but we're going to get tested early and often, and we're excited about that.
We'll go next to Joseph Duarte, please, from the Houston Chronicle.
Rob, speaking of scheduling, as you look at the conference portion of it, I know Houston and SMU have had some really grind them out games in recent years. Just your thoughts on the top part of the conference with Houston, Memphis, and a lot of expectations just there among potential Final Four teams. What your thoughts are of those two teams in the league?
Do I have to think about that right now?
Not if you don't want to.
Well, I've got so much respect for Coach Sampson. He's been an inspiration for me, and one of the guys that I think most of the people of my age who have followed this business and studied it and been a part of it, he's one of the guys that we look up to. And so the ultimate respect for him and the program he's built and what they've meant to this conference. And I've always admired Penny Hardaway from afar as a coach. Obviously, he was a great player, but how hard they play has always piqued my interest. And in fact, before getting this job, it was my goal to reach out and pick his brain while I was at Georgia State, because he had, people on his staff who I was familiar with. So there's no surprise that those two are kind of like the flagship programs for the conference right now, and just really impressed by those programs, and great respect for those, and really throughout the league, the quality of the programs, the coaching, the talent. It is truly a great league.
We'll go next to Jason Munz from the Commercial Appeal in Memphis, please.
Hey, Rob, kind of while we're talking about, while we're on the subject of Memphis, I know you didn't coach Kendrick Davis, but did you have a chance? I mean, I want to say that Kendrick had SMU in his, list of quote unquote finalists before he made the decision to transfer to Memphis. Did Did you have a chance to sit down with him and talk to him before he left?
I did, and to his credit, he was very forthright throughout that process. Obviously, he felt like his last year was a critical year for him, and he took a business approach to what he felt was going to be best for him, and he did that in a respectful way. And he allowed me the opportunity to have that dialogue with him, and I respect the way he handled it. And he's obviously going to a good program that he's familiar with through competition. And, he's a great player. He's tough. And I appreciated the maturity with which he handled his communication with me and the respectful nature with which he approached it.
Okay, we'll go next to John Titel, please, from Hoops HD.
Hey, Coach, you're our second new coach today who worked for Rick Barnes at Tennessee and Texas. I was curious how close you are with Coach Schwartz at ECU.
Very close. Mike, when I first got to Texas in 1999, Mike was a GA. His spirit and his energy and his passion for the game is just phenomenal. And certainly when the opportunity presented itself for him to join us at Tennessee, I was a huge advocate for that because I felt like he brought exactly what our staff needed at that particular time. And that proved to be the case. Mike is a great man, great father and husband, and just a tremendous basketball coach. And I can already visualize how hard East Carolina is going to play and how well coached they're going to be and how disciplined and tough. And all of that is an extension of what he brings to that program. So, Mike means the world to me. Mike was in the hospital the day my son was born. So there's a great relationship there for sure.
We'll go back to follow up for Jordan Hopkins, please.
Coach, a lot is made about all the transfers you brought in, and obviously a solid group there, a solid group returning. Just how important is a guy like Zach, who's probably the most veteran of the returning guys, even though he's only been at SMU 1 year? But how important is a guy like that to maybe be the kind of the glue that can pull a lot of this together?
Yeah, it's critical on a number of levels because Zach's just not like a mature guy with a great personality and tremendous charisma. He's also a really good player. And there's a level that he can play at that we aspire to reach with him together this year. And I'm very confident that he will do that. I think we'll see a different version of him. Year two, he came to this program and was trying to coexist with some other really good players. For the top 4 leading scorers, all of which are gone. So he's got to step into a new role, but he's built for it. And I'm excited, and you're seeing it unfold in real time. So I'm excited to have the opportunity to coach Zach. I wish I had more than 1 year with him, to be honest.
Rob, this is Mark Adams in studio. Great to see you, and welcome to the conference. And I'm curious about your roster as I studied it. The big guys that you brought in from Lowell, Alabama, Iowa State, Eastern Michigan, how are you going to use that size to gain an advantage at SMU? Because, man, you got some great transfer talent with that group.
Yeah, I'm excited about him, Mark, and good to hear your voice. I'm excited about them because they all have a great attitude. They work hard. They want to get better. And one of the byproducts of the portal is that you do get an opportunity to get these guys who've been previously coached. So you're getting them at a different stage of understanding of what college basketball is all about. But you're also getting some guys that are coming from situations sometimes where maybe they weren't their most confident. Maybe they didn't get as much of an opportunity. And as a staff, we're excited to be the catalyst for the growth that all these guys can make. And so that's been a good process. And, we felt like we got some size on this roster without compromising mobility and speed and some of the things that will be characteristic of how we want to play. So we thought we could marry the size and the versatility that we want to play with, that we have all of that. We don't have to compromise because we got big people on how we want to play.
Coach, thank you so much for the time. We're really looking forward to seeing here what you can do in year one. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mark, you alluded to it in that last question, the size that they're bringing in. And of those 8 transfers, who is it that intrigues you most?
Xavier Foster from Iowa State, 7-footer, 240 pounds, can score on the block, can block and change shots, runs the floor. This guy is a sleeper that gets out of Ames and ends up at SMU. And I think he's playing for a great coach that understands the kid. I think he's going to be a breakout star in this league.
When you think back to your very first year coaching, first year in a new program, what was it? What were some of the challenges you were facing heading into that first season? You
know, what's interesting about the difference then and today is the transfer portal. I mean, you can rebuild a team quickly. And as I study this roster at SMU, we've talked about Temple's going to be good, Tulane's going to be good, Memphis going to be good, Houston, obviously, and Cincinnati, those 5. I'm telling you, SMU, that's an intriguing roster. Now, there's going to be parts and pieces that need to come together. Yep. They may stub their toe in November and December. But, Brooke, I like this roster in short order. Rob Lanier has put a contender on the map at SMU.
And Moody Coliseum is one of the best college basketball atmospheres, period. Somebody else I like on that team, Efio Digi, Troy transfer, all Sun Belt first-team member. So got some talent in. Yes, you lose Kendrick Davis. Yep. And I thought it was a very professional way for Coach to say he made a business decision and left for Memphis. So sure, he's looking forward to seeing him on the schedule this year. Yeah. No doubt.
One of the returning players for the Mustangs, Zach Nutall, and he joins us right now here in the American studios. And we're going to turn things over to Chuck Sullivan with the American Athletic Conference, who has some questions from the media. Thanks for being with us today. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Morgan. We'll go right to questions. The first will come from Jordan Hoffitt.
Hey, Zach, I know yesterday when we talked, I think said you guys picked 8. But what does that kind of do for the mentality of this team that's kind of been in that top tier of this league? That is that something you guys use as motivation? Is that bulletin board material, or do you guys just still go to work like you always do?
Our plan is to go to work like we always do. The pick and the rankings doesn't really matter to us. We have a lot of new guys, and everything's new for everybody. So being a returner, I have new coaches, I have new players, we have new teammates, and we're all just trying to adjust together. We were expected to be picked where we were, and we know the expectations are low from everybody else, but they're super high for us. We know what we want, and we're definitely working hard every day to go get it.
John Titel, please. Hoops HD for the next one.
Hey, Zach, you were Conference Player of the Year in the Southland in 2021, but last year at SMU, your stats seemed to go down across the board. I was just curious, how hard was the transition, and was there any biggest factor? Is it just switching conferences or joining a new team or something else?
Sam Houston State was a beautiful place for me. That was the start of my growth, and when the year I won Player of the Year, I was just in a different mode. I was in an offense that was keyed around me, and I came to SMU under Coach Jank, who worked graciously with me every day and granted me a beautiful opportunity. And I also played a lot of great players. I cannot discount Kendrick Davis, Marcus Weathers, Michael Weathers, Emmanuel Vandermill. We had a full roster of guys who come off the bench and play and start and be real focal points. So I appreciate that aspect. I appreciate that growth for my journey. And, it's all about experience and maturation. So I'm growing into something in my 5th year, and I just ask that I, be the hardest worker, be the leader, and push everybody to be their best selves.
Maybe a follow-up from Jordan, Pony Stampede?
Obviously, a lot is made of defensive focus from Coach Lanier and what he wants you to do. One thing that stood out from practice yesterday is that charge drill. What's it like taking charge after charge from a guy like Dre Foster?
It's nothing. He got old. He's seasoned now, and he's going to give me a hard time for saying that. But we practice hard, and we practice with a lot of intensity. We have Coach Vinny Kaludi in the weight room, who's really big on our bodies, who's really big on our conditioning. And that's going to start with us defensively. That's how we look at it. We want to come in, we want to run. We're not scared of no runs, no lines, no 17s, anything. These guys really just want to get better, and I'm doing it together and figuring out how to overcome adversity in those practices in Crum. It's going to make us ready for Moody.
Hey, Zach, it's Brooke Weisbrod in the studio. We were talking about how great Moody Coliseum is. I'm doing well, thank you. You had 36 points when you played, I believe, at Sam Houston State. You dropped 36 in Moody Coliseum. What is it about that place that you love to score, and how excited are you to rock those uniforms this year? You guys got the cool ones.
Well, when I did it at Sam Houston, it was during the COVID year, and it's a totally different feeling than, being here, being a part of that atmosphere, being a part of that fan base, being able to play in front of them, and just trying to represent. I try to work hard, and I try to make sure the ball can, find a way in more than out. But having the fans around me, having my teammates around me, being in Moody Coliseum is electric. So we want to make something happen this year. I forgot about Sam Houston and all those things in the past because I'm so determined to do something here with these guys, with these coaches, and with this amount of time.
Zach, thank you so much. Looking forward to seeing you all take the court under your first-year head coach, Rob Lanier. Looking forward to seeing what you guys can do this season. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. I appreciate it.